Time for our KOLO book club. We have Jeff Scott here with the Washoe County Library System here to talk about some books, a couple of things going on. We have, first up, Asian and Pacific American Heritage Month. So you've brought a couple authors that people can read, one fiction, one memoir.
Yep. So there's a new memoir out by Nicole Chung. So she wrote a book a few years ago called All You Can Never Know, and talks about her transracial adoption. So she's Korean, adopted by white parents, growing up middle Midwest America, and kind of that experience being kind of separated from the culture and kind of understanding what that means long term. And so in this book, Living Remedy, she talks about her adopted parents. And so they're working class parents working really hard. They start to get medical ailments, but instead of going to the doctor, they just ignore it. And so it's a common thing we see with people as they age. They should go to the doctor, they should get regular medical care, and they just don't. And so her father ends up just passing away in his sleep. There's no sort of lead up to that. Just her mom calls her and like, he passed away in his sleep, and that was it. And obviously there was stuff going on, but weren't talking about it, weren't going to the doctor, and just ignoring it because of the fear of that medical debt.
So just trying to navigate probably her emotions, dealing through this and trying to figure out, is there a solution?
Right. It's kind of a commentary on the American healthcare system that we're so afraid of going to the doctor because of burdening our families with medical debt. We just don't go. And of course, there's consequences to that because you can certainly prolong your life by getting medical care. So
another book you have a suggestion for Asian and Pacific Heritage Month is Greek Lessons by Han Kang.
Yes, Han Kang. So she is an interesting author. So she wrote a book a number of years ago called The Vegetarian. And so that's about a woman who has a horrific dream about how society treats animals. And so she doesn't want to eat meat anymore. She wants to be a vegetarian. And so it becomes so severe, the family wants to make her eat meat that they actually hold her down and force her to eat meat. And she continues to sort of withdraw from society because of that. And so Greek Lessons is very similar in sort of that withdrawal. So the main character here, as a young lady, loses her voice. So she knows the words, she knows the language, but she can't speak anymore. So she remedies this by learning a new language. And so now she's older, she's teaching in a class, she's writing books, and then she's in class, and then she realizes it's back again, and she can't talk anymore, and she has to just leave the classroom, and now she has to take up a new language. And so Greek Lessons, she's learning Greek, which is a very fascinating language. It's not, it's a very unusual language.
Just learn Greek.
Right, yeah, it's all Greek to me, right? Yeah, it's an unusual language because it has kind of interesting rules to it, and because of the complexity, it helps her kind of regain herself and regain her composure.
Very unique concept there. Okay, now obviously a lot of people fascinated with Dr. Martin Luther King. And so a new book out this month is kind of delving into his life.
Right. So Jonathan Eig has a new book called King, A Life, and that's a biography on Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And so there's a unique take with this because there's certainly a lot of biographies, a lot of works written about Dr. King. And what generated this was Jonathan Eig was working on a different book about Muhammad Ali. And he was talking to Dick Gregory and making a comparison of Dr. King with Jesus Christ. And so he says, what's the difference between Dr. King and Jesus? It's like, well, you got film of Dr. King. You have pictures of Dr. King. They really existed. You have photography of it. And so it kind of causes this epiphany for the author, thinking that, there's people who are still alive that work with Dr. King, this is sort of like within our lifetime. And so if I hurry, I can interview them. So he gets, it's new information about Dr. King, new interviews from like Harry Belafonte, who just recently passed away, has an interview with him and many others, John Lewis, who recently passed away.
First-hand accounts.
Yeah, first-hand accounts of people that were there. And so it's a really, shows the burden that Dr. King had. He's 28 years old as a preacher, and now suddenly thrown into the national spotlight as a civil rights leader, and sort of the struggle with that as well. And so it shows the King as the man, Dr. King as the man. And I think it's really inspiring for people who are looking to, march for their rights or advocate for their rights, and showing the inspiration from Dr. King. So it's a really good memoir. It's 700 pages long, but it's really has a unique take on it. So I'd highly recommend that.
And then hearing people's stories. So let's pop up some of those titles for you. Greek Lessons by Han Kang, A Living Remedy, Nicole Chung, The King, A Life by Jonathan Eig. And one book we did not mention is Chain Gang All Stars. And we did mention this earlier this year. Wanted to just let you know it's coming out May 16th. So make sure you get your reservation at the library. Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be right back.